Let's talk about the new car future. In the word, it's exciting. And no, it's not a DeLorean. Remember the DeLorean? And no, it's not a flying car, the Jetsons. Not yet. But we're not too far away from a driverless car. We're going to spin through these pretty fast. There's the flex fuel or alternative fuel vehicles. There's the hybrids and plug-in hybrids. Then what they are now calling the electrification. There's the clean diesel. And aside from the VW thing, okay, put that aside. The diesels are virtually 99% cleaner too, across the board. The one in the upper right there, the Grand Cherokee diesel, is 99% cleaner than a 2008 Grand Cherokee. And then there's the pure electric and the electric with the range extender. And then the combination technology, like putting a diesel with a hybrid. So if you can get let's say with a small diesel, whether it's a VW or a Chevrolet Cruze, up to 40 or 45 miles per gallon, or you can get that with a Toyota Prius. What happens when you put the diesel ICE, the internal combustion engine, next to the electrification? We're not too far away from being able to do that. Then there's the fuel cell, the hydrogen fuel cell. And it's what Toyota's investing big in. They're all in a race to that 54.5 mile per gallon average. Natural gas makes a whole lot of sense in Colorado because we're a net exporting state when it comes to natural gas. We produce more natural gas and export more natural gas than we use in Colorado and in the U.S. as a whole. I don't know if you all saw it in this new budget bill, federal budget bill. They're going to drop the law against exporting crude and natural gas from the U.S. It makes a whole lot of sense because we're producing now more than we're using. Then there's the autonomous cars, and they are coming. There's no doubt about it. The car in the upper right is the little Volkswagen. Not Volkswagen. It's the Google car, but it doesn't have a steering wheel in it. It doesn't have brake pedals on it because it's not built to be driven. The other two cars are Toyota and Lexus products that Google is using in their testing. Google has over 2 million miles in their test vehicles. And I was impressed by this, the autonomous truck. Freightliner rolled out in April of this year an autonomous truck. They did the picture you see in the upper right. That is Hoover Dam on Lake Mead in Nevada. And they got the first autonomous truck permit to test this truck. Now, while a lot of people thought that was impressive to have an 18-wheeler going down the road with no driver behind the wheel, I'm really not going to be totally impressed until it backs itself into the dock and then loads itself. But if the autonomous cars are coming, so is the autonomous trucks. Let's talk a little bit, and we're going to get back just to touch on the regulatory environment that we operate under. This is Elizabeth Warren and her claim that auto dealers' markups cost consumers $26 billion a year. What she's alleging is that consumers would pay more at the dealership for their finance, which is actually, as the Washington Post identified, and she got 4 Pinocchios. And they just rated the Pinocchios for the year, and that was the worst Pinocchio test that they had for the year. And the whole idea is a dealer can actually help consumers with their finance. And with a lower rate, oftentimes a lower rate than a consumer can get at any other institution. So, and without a doubt, when you think about this, dealership will have as many as 30 or 40 or even 50 different finance sources that they can use for the consumer. So if you walk into, and I'm not picking on anybody here, but if I walk into Chase Bank and I say I want to buy a new car, they're going to give me the terms on the finance, right? And it'll be no doubt competitive. But if I walk into the dealership can finance Chase or Citibank or the manufacturer's captive lender or a dozen or 2 dozen credit unions. Some dealers even have their own finance. So there's a lot of ways that a dealership can actually, you've heard of the 0% interest and over 60 months. I'm not getting that at Chase or any other lender outside the dealership. There is one attorney group called a regulatory tsunami with the FTC. This is the top 20 legal trends facing dealers. Here, and now I'm going to shift to Colorado. Colorado's got the most complicated structure of local taxing jurisdictions. In Colorado, there are, and Tammy will correct me if I'm wrong on this number, but there are 756 different sales and use taxing jurisdictions. Most of those, or all of those, are either fall in the category of cities, counties, or special districts. So if I go into a dealership and buy a new car or buy a used car, they have to collect the tax while I'm there. They have to assess the tax based on where I live. Then they have to figure out, if based on where I live, what city and county am I in, what city taxes there are, what county taxes there are, and what special district taxes there are. If the dealership doesn't collect the right amount at the time I buy the car, it'll be the dealer ultimately making up the difference, because they'll never be able to go back and get that out of the consumer. The consumer's like, this is the deal, and this is what you said, this is when I signed the papers. So you know what the dealer will do? The dealer will go back and pay the tax and make the city or county whole. Even if the other city or county got it and they shouldn't have, and then they have to figure out how they're going to get it back there. So we've created a coalition to work to simplify Colorado's very complicated sales tax structure. It's available at Simplify Colorado Taxes. There was a recent audit report, I don't know if you all heard about it, on the sales and use taxes. It's over a 100-page report. It's the state of Colorado's auditor's office commissioned it, and it was pretty scathing on the problem on local taxes. Then there's Colorado's air quality. If you've lived around Colorado for 20 or more years, I've been here 18, but I can remember days in June, July, or August that you'd look west and you couldn't see the mountains. This is out by Sims and 6 Highway looking toward downtown Denver. But there aren't many days in Colorado that you can't see the mountains. And George, why don't you come back up and be a part of this, and Mike could be as well. New car dealers in Colorado started the Clear the Air Foundation in 2011, launched it in 2011 at the Denver Auto Show, where we take high-emitting cars as donated items, and whoever owns the car gets a tax deduction for donating it to the foundation. The average value on these cars is only $300 to $400, but although they are low value, they are some value, and we put that value into scholarship funds to train auto techs. This is the launch event at the Denver Auto Show. You notice these cars, you pull up behind them at a red light, the light turns green, you have to stay back for a while so you can see the drive. They're usually not well-maintained cars. They might be 15 or 20 years old. And new car dealers typically wouldn't sell these cars on their lots anyway, but instead of selling them to a wholesaler or used car dealer down the street, we get them to donate them to the foundation. And then we have an agreement with the Colorado Auto Recyclers where they bid on the cars and bid that $200 or $300 or $400. Part of the agreement is they will pick up the car wherever it's at. They take it back to their recycling facility. They can sell parts off the cars. They can't sell the engine or the body and the shell. Those have to be crushed and later shredded. And then these cars never pollute again. That's one of the wrap vehicles. Tim is in the audience for the wraps vehicles, but we have 3 wrap vehicles like this one, and it's kind of our moving billboard. Then New Car Dealers, the association contributed $1 million in cash reserves to the foundations to amp up and ramp up those scholarships so we could create a permanent endowment for those auto tech scholarships. And now George is able to present up to $50,000 in scholarships a year to auto tech students. Those can be to like Emily Griffith School, Lincoln Tech, and now you've donated to, I think every auto tech school, maybe but one in Colorado, right?
I think we're missing one, maybe 2. Who knows? But we reached
some
out
of
to
us.
a lot of them. Yeah, Farmington, Mexico. We hadn't hit Wyotech yet, but we're just waiting on the applications to come in. So I mean, as soon as we get those applications in, we have dealerships up there and stuff like that too. So we want to help the kids out wherever we can.
When did this start?
Early 2011 is when we first started taking cars in, and last year we only did 396 cars, and this is funny. So I tell Tim right here last month, I say, hey Tim, we hit 500. He's like, great, 600 now. I'm like, So we're going to hit 600 by the end of the year. We're 26 cars out. So if you have a neighbor that you got an eyesore, just go knock and just leave my card. Or you can just give me that address and I'll go knock. So we'll make it work somehow.